What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up?
Sup?
Happy birthday. Can I just start with a giant, massive happy birthday to you?
Yeah, do it. Like,
I guess
do you
that's what I
not
just
do you
did.
not have sound effects like some podcasters? Like I've seen I'm always I feel like I'm gonna say his name wrong. Ruslan.
Ruslan, yeah.
Every now and
Yep.
then he pops up. So I've watched some of his stuff, and he'll hit whenever he likes something. He'll have something he can press that makes like a
I do have noise.
yeah.
I
Make a
do.
noise.
Okay.
Try it.
Let's see. Let's do it's your birthday. Sorry.
Let's try it again.
That was a real there it is. This is like a standing ovation. Ladies and gentlemen, John Reuben. You know him, you love him, you need him, you have to have him. You got 37. They're still on their feet. You didn't think he'd be back, but he's here. That's right. Fresh from the witness protection program.
That's what I'm saying.
It was like a 36.
Thank y'all for coming out tonight. Back in the year 2000. Well, I said it on my record, dude, so people would remember. You know what I mean?
That's right. You predicted this. Okay. All right. There's too many toys in here.
We're gonna have to have some of that.
Okay.
What else do you have? Let me hear another one.
Tell a joke.
That's kind of bland.
That was
Yeah,
that was like this senile drummer. He's been there too long.
Do you have any like candid laughter? Like not candid, like the can.
Let's try this one.
Like,
that was almost fearful laughter. I feel like that was like you're holding a gun to their head.
let's use that every now and then. Let's use that
Every now and then.
Every now and then. I like that one. I like that.
The laughter
Especially
one.
if there's like awkward space.
Yeah.
Because I don't
and
know,
then my
man.
dog died. And then my dog died.
Unfortunately, my dog did die last month, dude. Thanks. Podcast over.
All right, no more. This is like when you let the little kids like do the worship service and they're just hitting everything and anything. Now, seriously, happy birthday, man. How was it?
It was great.
Yeah.
Good birthday. Well, my wife is in school, so she leaves this week. She's left the last couple of years, so it's just me and my daughter. And last year, my daughter said, she's like, "So, am I gonna take you out for a steak on your birthday?" And I was like, "Yeah." And of course, I'm paying for it, but I love that. I love that my daughter loves great steak.
Can I take you out on your money to bless you?
So we do a really good. We go get steak. So that's always fun. We've only done it a few years now, but it already feels like a tradition.
Of you spending your own money?
I just love that my kid loves a good steak, and so I'm like, yeah, let's go do that. That sounds great. It's like a really fun thing. So I did that, and went out with handful of buddies to a really good Chinese spot.
Like right after?
Yep, right after. So I pre-gamed with a tomahawk and a baked potato and a wedge salad and lobster, and then I went and I had dumplings, pork. No, that's not true. It was the next night.
Oh, I was like, man, this guy.
I ran like 30 miles just so I was.
We just need to employ somebody just for sound effect.
Yeah.
So that's awesome, man. So you got a little crew of homies up there that like that's your peeps. That's your birthday peeps.
Yeah, it was a great. I have a couple. You have any friends who just are like experts on everything? Like
Do I have any?
They are experts on like the best wine, the best restaurants, the best these sort of things. So I've got a couple friends, and
I don't have these friends.
And you just lean back and you say, "I'm gonna trust whatever it is you say," and you just get used to eating the best food because these guys are just and they like to curate and they're great at it and they're amazing and you just trust them. So I had a couple close buddies that really
I have none of this.
Put together really to help me like ordered some of the best food. It was like a great evening. So a bunch of us sat around a Lazy Susan and just tried a bunch of different food. Come on up. I'll have them.
I feel I had to. Like for my 50th birthday, which was like back in June.
Yeah.
I feel like now I paid for everybody to be there. Like I think I got to learn a little better now. Like I feel like my friendship dynamic and your friendship dynamic.
Wait a second. Yeah, what's going on, dude?
I don't know.
Come up here. I will throw you a proper dinner since your friends in Florida pretty much suck. You come up here and what's
Well,
wrong?
at
First of all,
my birthday had one of actually several of your homies at. So
yeah. Well,
we're
and I
our
know
Venn
those friends.
diagram.
Yeah, and we know
They were there.
that one guy that we're both real close friends with. He doesn't eat anything but chicken fingers and macaroni and cheese.
Yeah, he is a child, but he knows what he wants. So that's very manly, very adult. But what he wants is very childlike.
He's only gonna
Thus is the
he's only gonna
dichotomy
eat
of man.
he's only eating chicken fingers and macaroni and cheese. But it's funny. So my daughter gets out of school early on Fridays. She has, and then she's got to go back for theater. So she has a couple hours. I'm gonna start setting it up with these same friends who curated just the most incredible dinner. I'm gonna start setting up like we have a lot of really great like international food in Columbus, Ohio. Really fantastic food scene.
You
Trust
said
me.
curate. This is on the level
Sure.
of like
Curate. Now we're talking big. I'm talking real deal here, KJ.
the longer
So
this
listen.
conversation goes, the worse I feel about myself.
Good. Laugh track.
I don't know what's worse is my food options or like the fact that I have no curatable friends.
Deliver that line again and then hit the laugh track.
Oh, okay. Give me a second. Delayed. We'll fix it in post. Oh wait, we're doing it in real. This is the. I don't even remember what the setup was. Here it is.
Okay, so I'm over here. No. You hit it too soon. You hit it too soon. I said, hey, look, I picked my daughter up, so we'll meet you wherever. Pick any interesting restaurant.
Yeah.
Hole in the wall restaurant, international cuisine. And we'll call it Field Trip Friday. And my daughter will just show up and she'll try some different kinds of food. And she likes that. She likes experimenting. My daughter's the kind of kid that would like, you have these friends who are like missionary friends or whatever. They go to crazy places and they brag about all the wild stuff they've eaten. Like
Yeah.
I've got a buddy who is like great guy. He runs like homes and helps with orphans over in Cambodia. And so whenever he goes over there,
Okay.
but he's always like I'm always paranoid to go with him because I don't know if he's gonna have me eating tarantulas or whatever wild street
Go
food.
with it.
He's like, and I'm sure it's delicious. Like I'm a savvy guy. I understand that savvy. I shouldn't say savvy. I'm an open-minded guy. I recognize that we eat some stuff that would be foreign to other things, but there's certain things
Right.
my brain just hasn't got accustomed to. And I know he would be the guy pushing, like, try that. I'll be like, man, I can't. Or some crazy pepper that I'm like, I can't handle this spice. And I like spice, but you get these friends who are just like always trying to level up and one up you with like.
Yeah. Now I'm starting to see your friendship dynamic might be a little off. It sounds a little.
It's perfect.
I'll say passive aggressive, but there's a little bit of like.
I could be that friend to you.
I think you could. I think if you were here right now, like imagine you're here right now. Okay, you're down in Florida.
What do you eat? We know you only wear black pants and black shirts.
Accurate. That's part of that is because I do tend to spill food on myself in a fit of excitement. What do I tend to eat? Man, I'll tell you what. It sounds cliche. I do try to eat healthy, though. I do, I'll dip my toe in the grease sauce if it comes to it. But then I always find myself at the same spot. You know what I mean? Like I like what I like, and that's it. Man, like on Monday. Well, see, on Monday was my son's birthday, so we actually took him out. He turned 15. He wanted to go to the Japanese like steakhouse spot. It's like
delicious,
incredible, right? And know the jokes are going to be bad, and yet the jokes are incredible simultaneously. You know, like he's
sort of like our rap music.
Like we are the Japanese steakhouse of the hip hop industry. Oh, hold on.
Sort of like our.
This is bad. You know what? I can't upload sounds while I'm talking to you. I'm gonna find a better sound. We want a sad. What do we want? A sad horn?
You say the jokes are gonna be bad, and then I landed. I mean I could have executed that better, but I'll try to do it. It's the moment's past, but we'll come back to it.
It's so far past that we're stuck on the train track.
Go back, man. I diverted you from the conversation about the jokes being mad, but the food being delicious. The experience
food was incredible. He's chucking things at us. And it was the best. All right. What's that?
He's the 12th, January 12th.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
And he's. Oh wait, I think I have it. Let's see here. I don't know what I'm doing. This is. Let's try it. I got it. Yeah, we have unlimited sound effects.
All right, let's deliver it. Your line is, the jokes are going to be bad. Okay, go ahead. And action.
The jokes are going to be Bad.
Sort of like a kj52 rap verse.
Wait, we got to do it.
You notice how I just put that on you and not me? That wasn't cool.
This is borderline
should,
bad, like 80s sitcom. That's where
yeah.
we're at. We have unlimited sound effects now, man. Maybe this podcast should be about as many sound effects as we can get in here. I'm trying to think of another one. What's another one we need?
Well, let's get back, man. Let's finish the thought. You went to the Japanese steakhouse. What did you get?
I got just the chicken because I'm boring like that. And yeah, absolutely. Okay. But you know what I don't like is how they make you sit with other people you don't know, like pushed up next to them. Like you're like, hey, so, but you can't have a conversation because they're sitting sideways. So you're like, you know what I mean? You're like, we both know we're faking this conversation right now, but
yeah, exactly.
How do you feel in this? You probably rock those social situations. You're probably like, you make best friends, you own it, you assert dominance right out the gate. Is that what you do? You're like, you find the weakest one and eliminate them. You know what I'm talking about? In the Japanese, it's like the sit around. They force you to sit with people, right?
Usually I try to immediately, like, hopefully I'm with like a group of 3, so I can go for the middle seat.
Oh, okay, that's a master class. Okay, you're like, I need a buffer.
Sometimes it just depends on the day. I think I could be good in certain situations, and then in other situations, certain days I'd be like trying to figure out how to navigate that conversation. Because it is weird. You are sitting there. The community table things, it's a beautiful thing. It's great.
Yeah.
I love the idea of a community table. And then there's sometimes when you're just, man, in theory, right?
I don't like it.
Don't you? Like, aren't you a pastor? Don't you stand up there and say things about like community and getting to know people and we're gonna help you get plugged into a group.
I keep working works.
We're all here about community. We're about, building community, connecting people.
Community. I'm literally
love
a connection
of God,
pastor.
Community.
Just
you connected to a youth group.
No lone zebras. Circles are better than rows.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have no choice but to love the community table.
But my social battery's gone by 7:00, man. Like I don't have, like I'm forcing it. Okay.
So what you're saying is the church is a building. Really? After all these years, this is where you've landed? That when you leave the building, you no longer have to be the pastor. You're no longer a compassionate, God-fearing man that cares about the stranger and the neighbor next to you. That's
it's a fight. I'll just say it's a fight.
Sometimes it's a fight. I want you to just think about that.
You think about it. You sit in that moment. You sit in the moment. John is gone, everybody. As fast as he came into our lives, this is as fast as he's gone. And he's hydrated. Yeah, you're right. Listen, you tell no lies. I have to fight sometimes through my my personality is 51%, 49%. So I'm 51% extrovert, 49% introvert. So there does come a point where my social battery goes on flatline. So that being said, I did say hi. Okay, I'm getting better. I was like, hey, how's it going?
Hey,
and they didn't want to talk. Yeah, and I could, down here you have every type of person. You have New Yorkers, you got Midwesterners, you got California peeps, you got Caribbeans, you got every possible human background. So I'm gonna guess that they were Midwestern because they hit me with a.
Really? That's what you think of the Midwest?
That's exactly what I think of the Midwest.
Yeah, I've always found Midwest people to be very.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're saying,
but I'm saying they'll give you this smile though.
Can you name that smile?
It's like I acknowledge you to this far of my.
So you're saying if you're sitting like this and they turn at you and they go, they're like, they really want to talk.
Pretty much.
This is sort of like I'm only going this far to let you know, like conversation ends here.
Yeah,
I'm not going to tell you about where I'm from.
You're not at casserole level with me yet, sir. You're not at casserole level. I'm not bringing you a casserole, okay?
We're not talking. But let me ask you a question. If you're going to the Japanese steakhouse, is it sort of like kind of mandatory that you're a social person? Like, is that kind of part of the experience and agreement? Like, because you're kind of all there it's going to be a group from what I've only been to a few, but what I remember, there's like 10 of you, and the guy there is sort of like, he's like an entertainer. The guy cooking up the food is an entertainer, and you're all sort of there. You're kind of there for the show. You're there for the show. Then you're all kind of you're all kind of together. So it's not like I can't imagine that's a place you go to tell somebody, I want to get a divorce. You know what I mean? Like, it's a very, like, you're not having any
I
deep,
want to get divorced. Who wants soup though? First,
you're not, or maybe that's the best place if you're going to do something like that. But to me, it strikes me as you're kind of doing this thing where it's like, hey, you've got the table, you're there, you're not trying to have intense conversation, you're not trying to, you're there to be a part of the
yeah, you're
experience. That
zoned
means
out.
you kind of got to be with the people around you. So that's sort of like, I sort of think you and both the Midwest smiling person need to lean in to why you're there more. You're kind of buying a ticket to a show.
Yeah, but at the show, I'm not talking to the person next to me. Am I? Maybe pre-show. Maybe pre-show. Like I'm like, let him do the talking.
Yeah, well, you're kind of in the moment together, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Man, man, again, the longer I've talked to you, the worse I feel about myself. Whether it's friendship level, whether it's dinner, just dinner.
you get you believe the church is a building. Let's just go down all the lists. You say your fans know what they learned about you today. The church is.
Yeah, if I'm a multi-layered onion, you don't want to keep peeling back the layers. Well,
Oh, speaking of onion, did they do the onion thing?
absolutely. They did the onion. The onion was there. He made the
Because that's
face,
like
the smiley
the
face.
flame, right?
Yes, the flame. He made the smiley face, with the giant pile of carbohydrates. It was incredible. I would say the food was incredible. The food was incredible. But you're right. Once the show started, I was like, I don't have to deal with Bob from Toledo. And he doesn't have to deal with Jonah from Cape Coral. Like, it was over then. Yeah. And the sad thing was, like, I got up and got the check like before it was even brought. I'm like, all right, it's paid. Time to go. Bye, everybody.
You know, it would have been the nice thing to do if you would have got for everybody.
For everybody, thousands of dollars spent at that table, but you're welcome,
hey,
everybody.
My son's birthday, go big.
Yeah, go big for everybody. Well, he did not want to be put on spot. Like, he didn't want them to know it was his birthday. He wanted to go there, but he didn't want to be like, the balloon and the fortune cookie. I don't know what they do for the birthday, but so, we dipped and came back here and blah, blah, blah. And it was low key. But that being said, man, so you went to the steakhouse that you paid for, and then you went to
I went to my favorite Chinese spot in town.
Are we talking like low budget Chinese? Are we talking like, the menu's faded, there's a kid doing his homework in the back? Or are we talking like China buffet?
No, it's a nice, I it's funny because some people might say it's a hole in the wall, but I actually think the aesthetics were really nice. The food it's not, I wouldn't call this sort of like I don't know if I call it low budget. It's not like fancy.
Okay.
It's not fancy, it's just well done.
Okay.
They have two menus. They have like the American menu because they didn't want bad Yelp reviews when they're bringing out like fish heads. People will go in apparently and say, "Hey, I want the authentic thing," and it's like you kind of didn't. You just wanted sweet and sour.
Didn't.
Right?
Yeah.
And by the way,
you know what you wanted.
I like it all. Like I like the quote unquote authentic Chinese, and I also like American Chinese. And it's funny when you get into the conversation about what is and what isn't authentic, because I'm like, I think really good American Chinese is also an authentic experience. I like both variations of it, but they do have the two menus, and so you can kind of order off whatever one. I've gone a few times on myself and ordered off the American menu, and felt ashamed to tell my buddies, the same buddies who curated the experience for me, that I got the white boy menu. I was like, I just really want chicken fried rice right now.
Well, I find the better the food is, the more faded the menu is. Like, that's on the wall. You know what I mean? Like, it's faded. Those colors are there. There's a kid doing his homework. You know what I mean? Like, in one of the booths. Yeah. That to me is authentic. You know what I mean? Like just, I'm going to be eating rice for days. I've actually, kind of stayed away from that type of food. I'm trying to eat a lot healthier in my old age. But that being said, I will dip in. But if I'm going to go to a birthday spot, I think, honestly, where I'd like to go to the Awful Waffle. Like, I want to go somewhere where the check sticks to the table. You know what I mean? Where the waitress's name is D, right? And she's seen a few scraps in her time. You know what I mean? Like, and, anything could happen. Nothing could happen. Florida Man, like I've said before, is not just a title. It's a way of life. You know what I mean? Like, the Florida Man could happen that night. Like, that's, to me, the Awful Waffle.
So there's a place. Is it a chain, the Awful Waffle?
I'm talking about Waffle House. That's what I call the Awful Waffle. The Waffle House. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, you know what I mean? I'm sure you've gone to many Waffle Houses in your years. It's the only thing that's ever open after a show is over.
You love it.
That's where I'm at. In fact, I remember back in the day, I think it was 02, 03, I can't remember, was when I did the tour with Grits. And every show, post show, I went to Waffle House with coffee, just me and coffee. And he would have me PM myself. Like he would do a voice while he was there. He would do like a, he would be like that, or he would talk about D. D was like the waitress, and she loves Travis Tritt, and the kid is always in trouble, and she's always like having to leave. Like that to me is like a core memory of that tour.
He had a whole backstory. He went in there knowing, like, he like knew the type of person that was serving.
Like, and he's like, watch, like your check is gonna stick to the table. Like as soon as it got on there, it's like you couldn't get it up, you couldn't get it off the table. It was so sticky. Yeah. Or maybe I've made all this up in my mind, but that was like the Grits tour I did.
What tour was that?
That was it was me, Grits, and two rock bands, and it was really when Grits was like really hitting their peak. It was like Art of Translation era, so like Ooh Ah was like blowing up. They would go and do like a church show on that tour, and then go like open up for Outkast and come back and forth. So it was like these days where they were like, we can't just do a rap tour. God forbid that two rappers go out together. You got to have a rock band, right? It would be like rock band, maybe me, then another rock band, then Grits. Like they headlined the whole tour. But I always thought about that back in the day. It was so typical. Like the industry distrusted us so much that they, whatever the rock band was, I always thought like we're clearly making everybody unhappy at the same time.
Well, in all fairness, I mean, it was like, could the hip hop acts have drawn enough to actually fill up, I don't know, a youth room, I guess.
Many youth rooms were happening. I remember it was still a good tour, but it was like
better than say, could we fill up a club? But let's be honest, it depends on how big the youth room was. You know what I mean? If there was like if it was a small church and a small youth room.
Yeah. And there was always a bad, dirty couch in that youth room. There was a couch that had many bad memories. That couch was hanging on for dear life. Do you remember these couches? Do you know what I'm talking about here?
I always have these funny memories of like the green rooms, and you're like, so people be like, oh yeah, you're a hip hop artist. You're going out on a hip hop tour. I'm like, I don't think you guys understand. Like
I don't think you understand.
I'm like in a kid's like the nursery eating carrot sticks.
Yeah. This chair is barely a foot off the ground. Barely.
Like with pictures of like Noah and the animals on the wall. This isn't like this isn't the. But then you always had the hip hop guys who were always torn because they're like, they're just sitting in this green room being like asking what they thinking about their cred.
Right. You're like, I've outkicked my coverage. There is clearly a felt board on the wall with like felt Peter that's falling off. He's falling off the felt board because the puppet show is not really.
We all know that this is fun and this is awesome. This can be meaningful, but we all know what this is, right? Look around, read the room. Literally read the room.
You could read the room because it was covered in like animals,
Bible verses.
Yeah, and the fluorescent lighting. There was nowhere to hide. It was beaming down in full blaze of glory, and then you're like, all right, well, let's I'm living my dream. I'm out here. And then you're like, you know what? I'm going to walk to the stage, which meant I walked through the crowd in front of everybody. And, I don't know how bad your intros were. Mine were never great. I never got a great intro. There was always like, the awkward silence. And then you realize as soon as you get in front of those kids, none of them know who I am. Like, any previous, it's gone.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, that was the thing, dude. Like, I think we talked about this last time, and we'll probably talk about it again and again and again. But I built my shows knowing that the sound system might be bad.
Might be.
They might not even have a sound system.
Might not.
We're like sort of like you're trying to build an intro. Any sort of like imagine in your head, the fog machines or any like brooding music, and you coming out from behind. None of that. None of that.
No.
You're gonna walk out. You're gonna walk out. Maybe you'll get, you might, maybe sometimes there'll be smoke, but sometimes you're going to walk out with the lights on. Man, speaking of lights.
And you're still walking to the stage. You're still trying to make it.
You're going to have to teach people what rap is.
Yeah, that's so true. You're like, the lighting is the guy over there by the light switch going, listen, man, I'm right there with you. I had what I called I had to look at my DJ and go, which intro are we doing? Because one of my intros was called the intro. And basically, I would walk, knowing how bad the introduction was probably, or how awkward it was, or how much the kids did not know me, did not care. You know what I mean? So I would walk up there and go, just dead silence, no music, no nothing. I'm like, what's up, everybody? Hey, listen, we're going to start the show, but I need you to I need you to basically give me, a Backstreet Boys level scream, cheer. And
Yeah.
I'd walk to the corner of the stage in full view of everybody and be like, we're going to practice right now. And I'd walk back and the cheer would get a little louder. And I'm like, not good enough. We don't start until you actually cheer.
Right.
Like I want children thrown into the sky. You know what I mean? And then I'd walk back off to the corner of the stage again. And then, be like, ladies and gentlemen, kj52 is here. And I'd run back on. So I know I pulled some of this from you, I'm sure.
Yeah,
If not, it was done.
you got that from me, but keep going.
No, and then it would be like I would do then I would do the introduction, and then I would
Well, you
reintroduce myself to the crowd maybe 3 times by this point. But it worked. You know what it was?
To do, man.
It popped the balloon. It let the air out of the room to be like, hey, look, we all are in on this joke. You know what I mean? Like we both know that that the guy running sound is clearly up for an AARP discount. You know what I mean? And the youth pastor, God bless him, he's probably part-time. He's trying his best to reach some kids. And the kids that did show up were the kids that maybe had nothing else to do that night. Like we're all on board here. We know what's happening, right?
But
and
you know
then,
what, though, man? There's kind of I look back on that, I'm sort of like, there's an art to it. You kind of
absolutely,
you hone your skills in a different way. It's kind of
absolutely.
and
Listen,
hey, so keep going. Finish.
No, I was just saying, I look back on that and be like, I know there was a sentiment in some of our circles, how that was demeaning or how that was not what we're here to do. You take this urban art form, but yet you're playing, Westchester, Kentucky County or whatever. You know what I mean? I actually looked at the opposite way. I was like, man, I'm so grateful that there's anybody here. I'm so grateful that a youth pastor would actually make the choice to make this happen. Or, I did approach it with a ministry mindset. I was like, man, these 50, 100 kids, that's my time and I can impact them and speak into them. And there's a spiritual principle. I think if you're faithful with the little, God will give you a little bit more. And so that's where I, did that. But it was you were landing in a major city and then driving maybe an hour, 2 hours just to even get to the show, doing that whole rigmarole, getting done, and then going right back, an hour, the exhaustion level, and then getting up at 4 a.m. to catch the next flight to the next show. And you're this is not as glamorous as people think it is. That was my experience.
Yeah, I always had an immense amount of love for those youth pastors too, because I
Absolutely.
think it's hard to make anything work and to pull anything off. And
Totally.
the flip side of that is, for a lot of the dudes who would complain about that kind of stuff, I'd also be like, well, you could also go just play clubs and try to sell tickets.
Right.
The only stuff where you can't do that. And, we
Right.
did show, we, I wish I would have done a bit more of that. But there's also a level of you can't be mad if you agree, hey, I'm going to show up. And then you got to show up. You can either be cynical about it or you can say, hey, I'm going to show up and provide a service and figure out how to navigate my art within that frame of reference instead of being, because no one makes you take that show. So you can be angry about it, but no one made you take it. You get to take that show, you get to perform, you get to do songs that you appreciate, and you get to kind of interact and have a good time. And you sort of start seeing how you can craft that for the experience. And then you look back on it, it's kind of fun. It was kind of funny. There's so many wild experiences from the road that I'm like, I guarantee there are a lot of other touring artists that don't have those experiences. Yeah. So I don't know. I always ended up, sometimes I actually appreciated that more than the people with these huge budgets that were throwing the big conferences and trying to do the spectacle.
Right.
I actually appreciate, because there was a lot of heart that went into those small community events and those youth pastors trying
Absolutely.
to so.
All right. Well, all right. I want you to give me one wild road story. Okay. Do you need a second to think about it? Because I have several.
Well, we might as well let's go and look. If we continue to do some of these,
we'll do one each. Road story.
They're always, yeah. Well, we're talking about funny shows. I mean, I was thinking as we were talking, I did a AAA hockey event. You're talking about awkward intros, right? So it's after the hockey game. I don't know. There was probably, I don't even remember if it was like a youth pastor that brought us in who ran the night. There wasn't a lot of people. There wasn't a lot of people at the game. There was even less people that stuck
Yeah,
around after.
triple A hockey. You're getting lower and lower. You're getting lower and
Right.
lower
Oh,
in
dude, it
the
was like,
standings.
yeah, it was good hockey, but it was like I think it was the lowest of the hockey, and like I don't know, somewhere in PA. But I remember we came out on why can't I remember? It's a common like what the thing that can drag you out onto the ice.
Zamboni?
The Zamboni, or yeah, I don't
Okay.
know, but we were on a stage, but there was a thing that was dragging us out onto the ice, right? And so the lights are completely up, 30 people in the sitting in the stands, and
Bro,
and like we're
this is
getting
literally a
dragged out.
park. You know, this is a
There's a
Parks and
couple
Rec episode, right?
there's a couple mascots like zooming around as we come out real slowly. In my band, this is when I was playing with the full band, so I have a guy there with a guitar. We're just kind of looking at each other. But the song that was playing while they were dragging us out, like they didn't switch over to like I didn't have an intro or anything. The song that they were playing was I can't remember the name of the artist, but it was a big song. It was the first cut is the deepest.
Bro, you are this right here. Do you see this? I don't know how well you can see this. This is a Parks and Rec episode. Do you know what I'm talking about? They have to walk. She's stuck and can't get to the stage because they didn't spend enough money on the carpet. So this is you. You're Leslie Nope trying to get to the
So
stage.
I did 2 or 3 of these events.
This is you. You're trying to get to the stage in front of full view.
Dude, so the one
the
one I'm talking about, no, they wheeled us.
You're about to fall. There it is. You fell.
No. We weren't on the ice. That was another one. I'll tell you that one in a minute.
That was a different show.
They wheel us out. The one show I'm talking about, they were wheeling us out in their song, "The First Cut is the Deepest," was playing in the background. And so we're just standing there as that song's playing. And then we finally got to where we were situated. And there were 2 mascots that were, I think one of them might have been the Chick-fil-A, cow they were skating around us like the whole, so the show starts, and then I think it's the Chick-fil-A cow was skating around us, throwing stuff.
While you were performing?
Yeah, while we were performing. And so at that point, I think I was wrestling with like who I was a little bit, and I was trying.
So you were wrestling with your identity at that moment.
I was wrestling with my identity, so I was like, I want to do some of my spoken word stuff, but it was like, the music's playing lightly. I'm trying to get serious. 30 kids in the crowd. I was like, this ain't gonna happen. Let's just go back to getting everyone to throw their hands in the air because this is not gonna work. They don't. This is not gonna work. Even the happy stuff isn't gonna work here. So I don't know what I'm trying to do. And so I did that one, and then I did another hockey one. I think I might have done 2 or 3 hockey ones, but I did another one where they gave us ice shoes. So we walked out in order to not slip. I think they gave us ice shoes. I think that's what they call it. I just remember we had something, and then they had like the hockey. Yeah, the hockey one was weird, and I'll try to remember more. But that's mine for today. What's yours?
Well, I mean, I have other ones, but I don't know. I feel like I should stay with the hockey theme because
just one. Yeah, talk about hockey right now.
We're gonna stay with let's stay on theme. I did do a hockey show. It was actually no, it was in our big arena. Like we have it's actually our biggest venue in town. It's called Hertz Arena. So I don't know if they're AAA. They might be. I don't know what why we have hockey in Florida. I don't know.
You played Major League Hockey. Yeah.
I don't think so, but it was enough that it was like, it was the regular place where any big show would come and play. It's also a hockey arena. So they were like, hey, we want you to do we're going to do a faith night, and this is actually post. I had already gotten off the road. In fact, I had just gone on staff at the church. So it was like, this was like a leftover show from the year prior. So in my head, I was like, great, I'll show my new staff peeps that I'm, and it was put on by the local radio station. So it wasn't whack in the sense of the promotion or the setup. But the problem was, I remember this a week of, they were like, oh yeah, by the way, you're providing the sound system. That's how they worked it into the contract. And I'm like, wait a minute, you want me to bring a full-blown sound system to fill a 16,000 seat arena, off this guarantee? There's no way I'm going to be able to pull this off. On top of that, everyone sits up, you know what I mean? So trying to broadcast a sound system going upwards to this space.
Oh, that's a nightmare.
Oh yeah. And this is a week out.
Situation.
It's a week or 2 out from the actual event. And I've already pumped it up with the staff, I've got a bunch of free tickets. I actually had people, I'd done my first Kickstarter. So one of the packages was like, come to a KJ show. So like somebody had like flown down with their family to go to this show. So like there's a lot riding on this event. And to top it off, they finally were like, well, we're not going to give you a sound system. You can just use the sound system that we have, which is basically just like the auditory mic, And I'm like, there's a 3-second delay on anything I'm going to say, much less try to play, sound through a 16,000 seat arena. So I ended up, hitting up a homie like, hey man, let me rent your sound system. Let me bring something in. And I brought, like my DJ, and I thought, I better do something visual. So I brought a breakdancer to like a breakdancer homie. So I'm like a DJ, a breakdancer, like this will be like visually entertaining, right? And decent sound system. But just like you had talked about, we had to bring the game ends and I got to bring everything onto this, out there to set up in real time. So everybody's watching, while this is happening. So, and it's still gonna take some time to set up a sound system. So it's like you're a kid about to do a show for your family at like, at like a family get together, but you're like, give me a second. I got to set up the blanket. I got to set up the puppet show. I got to get my boombox. So there's nowhere to go. All the lights are up. So there's no lighting. You know what I mean? And like you said, like you got to walk this all out on the ice. They did not give us snowshoes. There was no so everybody is struggling just to get it out there. There's no sound playing. There's no music. There's nothing playing on the thing. It's dead silence. And I can see everybody I know, and they're like,
gosh, dude.
So the worst part of it was, unbeknownst to my friend who was doing the sound system and the setup, was that he had just gotten like an all wireless sound system to like speed up the process. So everything was going to be Bluetooth and blah, blah, blah. And nothing was connecting, like nothing would sync up. Nothing would connect. None of the audio was working, nothing except for like one speaker.
How many people are there right now?
I would say, a good couple hundred, but I mean, you're in an arena, so a good couple hundred in a 16,000 seat. Everybody could have like their own row, basically. You know what I mean? So like, so the only thing that's working is like one speaker and one microphone. So I'm like, hey, let's go ahead and crowd in. Finally, what we didn't know later on, I found out was that because of all the wireless stuff in the arena, it was actually stopping the stuff from syncing. We didn't know this, so I am not panicking because I've been in so many bad shows, but I'm like, this can't get any worse. And now it's dragged on to 20 minutes. Now the venue is like, hey, you got to start, or we're shutting you down. And like at this point, like you have to go. You don't have a choice. So I just remember it was like one speaker. I made the poor breakdancer was just like working himself to death. And he was the homie.
It's on you.
Yeah, I'm like, you've got to save this, sir. So he's like running up and down the stands trying to get people into it. We went ahead with it. I mean, look, at the end of the day, I still remember it was like, that was awesome. Thank you. So it was their measuring stick and our measuring stick are so very different. You know what I mean?
This is a safe space. You can be honest. That wasn't awesome.
No, I was like, because I had to go into the office on Monday, with all my staff. So I'm just hiding. You know what I mean?
They're right. And they're all thinking like, you're all like, are we gonna have to tell this guy that was banging?
They're like, my kid still talks about how great that show was. I'm like, no, don't listen. I have better stuff. I feel bad. It was just,
who knows? You know what though? Like, you wonder at that point, can you pivot and say, hey, do you have like a box seat area we could just perform in, or can we go to the don't they have like some nice lounge? Can everyone go to the lounge?
Can we go to the lounge?
Can we take
I'll
the
take
PA
requests. I'll read a poem. I'll write you a haiku. I'll do whatever it takes. Yeah, you're right. That was something I always thought was funny because like youth pastors did not understand like room dynamics, and they would be like, clearly we can do this in the main, the sanctuary. I'm like, there's like 1,000 seats. And they're like, we passed out a lot of flyers. I'm like, I don't want to break it to you, but I'm not that great as you think I am. And like, can we go to the youth room? They're like, well,
you don't realize that you really like my music and your kids have no idea.
Right.
Right. You really like my music. Like, nobody else has any idea about this stuff.
No, but
I used to always I loved it when we'd show up. I'd be like, all right, good. The room only holds 200 people. This is good. Right. Because you knew, because then if the sound system's small, it's still working. Everything's still working. The worst was those tiny, like on the PV, the speakers, and you look around, it's like a room of like 3,000 people. You're like, this isn't going to work.
No.
We need to take this to the hallway.
can we go into the closet perhaps? You know, I mean, let's go back behind the stage. Yeah, and
I will perform
you
the
know,
show in your office. Can we go to the office and
can we
perform?
go can we go outside in your car? Can we perform
Can
in
you
your car?
bring the speakers into the
Can
green
we
room where there's
can
pictures
we
of Noah and the
can we
animals? Because the nursery is a better
it's a nice
place.
it's a nice color aesthetic. You know, it brings out my eyes, it warms up my texture of my face. Listen, you know, I don't know what circles you ran in. I can tell you that my circles tended to be like Baptist, some Methodist, but a lot of Pentecostal. So like I also was dealing with the, you know, the mindset of like, well, you know, they're either if we just reach one, you know, I'm like, yeah, that's true, technically. Or I was dealing with well, we're believing God for 1,000 tonight. I'm like, yeah, that's your faith
Yeah.
is great. I'm impressed, but you know, it's going to be little JoJo who's homeschooled and like, you know, and like the pastor's kid and you know, and God bless him. We're going to give him something. But anyway, that's
You
we'll
just
save.
have to like starting to question their faith after that because it's like it's on you, KJ. God told me that
Yeah,
there was going to be 1,000 people here tonight, and
yeah.
now
And then you're like,
I don't know what to
man, I
believe
hope this
for.
check clears. That's the other one that I was only in the back of my head, like a little scared that the check was going to bounce
Oh
days
yeah.
later. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I had a guy skip town once. He literally skipped town and escaped the town after writing the bounce check. Like I'll never forget that. I was like, I don't even know how to
Hold
chase you down,
on.
sir. You're
Hold
gone.
on.
But anyway,
Name you name the state. Tell me where that was.
it was in between Texas and Arkansas. That's where it was.
Okay, we're not talking about the same guy.
No, not this time. Though I'm sure there's overlap. I'm gonna play a beat right now. I'm gonna play a beat. This is one of the beats that we're working on.
No, you're gonna share that.
Don't play a beat. I can't do that.
Because then
Not
what
even
if
just a
people are like,
beat.
we don't? Are you sure?
I don't know. Play 5 seconds of it. How about that?
3 seconds.
Oh, you know what? In an amount of divine providence, it won't upload. All right, never mind. We're not gonna play a beat. Anyway, I have Busta Rhymes.
We haven't even decided. We haven't.
It's just a Busta Rhymes beat.
You know what?
Have you heard that?
That record, man, that beat right there. That I didn't get it when it first came out.
Really?
The older I've gotten, the more I go back and I'm like, man, that was pretty forward thinking
incredible.
stuff. Yeah,
absolutely. Have you heard that Mike Birbiglia joke where he talks about like all he wanted to be was like a rapper when he was in 5th grade? And he talks about how like, you know, rappers can just say a rap and at the end they're just like, you know, da 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 Busta Rhymes. You know, he's like he was like, and then he talks about how it doesn't translate to comedy. He's like, yeah, the best part of waking up, if the best part of waking up is Folgers in my cup, then I don't want to wake up. He's like, it doesn't translate. He's like, rappers can say whatever they want and just end with their name. You know, it's just super cool. He also talks about, I mean, it's true.
Because if you're,
we can say whatever.
If you're good, you can convince people, even if they're like, that doesn't make any sense. I don't know how I feel about that. But if you're confident, it's like you can really get in people's head, and they're like, you're like, they start second guessing themselves. Like, oh no, that
like,
was.
I'm not the problem. You're the problem, right? Yeah.
We're gonna
going back. Have you ever done like a mental like, you know, catalog of like how many times you said your own name? Like I know I've done this a lot. You know what I mean? Like I'm looking back. I'm like, it's such a trope and a cliche, but like
absolutely no. So I did my set. Someone asked me like, what songs are you going to be doing at this set? I recently did. I said it's all the songs with my name in it, and because I started going through it, I was like, oh my gosh, I have a whole. Pretty much a nice little. If I were to do a full set, we could call this the meet and greet or the introduction, whatever. But I've got a good 25 to 30 minutes where I'm like, you were really making sure people knew who you were by putting your name out there.
Yeah.
You know,
what does that say about us?
I did a lot obnoxiously, like especially on the first couple albums. I was like, there was a lot of. I think one album had the stuff with my like. We talked about last time. I'd say it was like I John Rue and Dippity doing. Reuben. Always introducing myself. Song with my birthday on it. John Reuben from the land of corn.
Right. Yeah. Where did this come from? I'm looking back, like I have a whole song called kj52. I'm like,
I mean, it's fair
constantly.
if you think about it. Think about it though, man. Like, I think it makes sense. I mean, like, we got to write a lot. You got to write a lot. If you're going to MC, if you're going to put out hip hop records, I mean, you have to say a lot. So I think that sometimes just being able to fall back to like, it's just sort of kind of in the makeup of how you, you get a lot of.
Did I tell you this going back to like we were talking about like youth groups and youth group kids and small towns, like this is the epitome of what we're talking about right now, and I'll never forget it because it was Picayune, Mississippi, and at the show I had opened up. I was on the tour with Ilharmonics and maybe I think it was just Ilharmonics, but ironically was like the original drummer for Mute Math. Darren King was on that tour. He was playing drums for them, and then Paul. I'm not Paul. I think they met Earthsuit. Like we opened up for Earthsuit at that show, and I'll never forget this show because that whole tour was kind of rough. But that was like the last show of the tour, and it was like good 500-600 kids in this like civic center. And I was like, man, well, at least I'm going to leave feeling pretty good about myself. You know what I mean? Like, it's been a rougher tour, but the last show was great. Last night was great. The kids are into it. And I'm like, I'm kind of, like, I'm going to make this drive home 13 hours, like, I'm going to be okay. Right. And I'm at the table and I'm signing and the thing went amazing. And I'll never forget this girl because she was in the line and she came up and she's like, I just want to tell you, how much your music means to me. And now I'm like barely 2 years in. So I'm like, thank you. Finally, some validation. And she goes, and da 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 da. And she's going on and on and on. And I'm signing the autograph and whatever. And then she ends it with just saying, like, your song, Do Not, is the very best song. Like, I just want to tell you how much that song, like, I play it all the time. And I'm like thinking, okay, this is clearly a setup for a punchline. Like, she's going to get me. Like, and then she ends it by going, like, John Reuben, your music means the world to me. And I just was like so deflated in that moment. I'm like, I don't know what to do here because I don't want to hurt her feelings, but I'm also like 2 + 2 = 4. You saw the show, like you saw what was happening. You see I'm signing a poster with my name on it. Nowhere in this poster does it say John Reuben. Like there's not a moment where you would even, 2 + 2 = 5. And I'm like, I think I just, like those are those moments. That to me is like Christian hip hop at that time. No matter how far you got.
I could tell you, if that only happened to you once, you're fortunate. I'm pretty sure that you have a better memory of the details of these stories, but that happened to me a handful of times. Someone will start talking to me, I'm like, you got the wrong guy. That's the wrong guy.
You got the wrong guy. And then they'll argue with you. Like, no. You're that person.
No. Yeah. I've actually had that happen a handful of times with you. So that's so funny.
This to me, I'm like, is this just bad educational systems in these perspective areas? Is it that people don't really pay attention? Is it that they want it? I always would, and I remember like
they were like checking the box for a lot of the youth pastors in the industry. Was like, this Eminem guy's doing pretty well, so we got a couple white rappers, and
it's all the same.
And if you like that guy, you'll like these guys.
And I never forget because I had to get in what was then the minivan, and I had to get in the minivan, and we were driving all night long to get back. And I think I had a hotel that night, and I was so just like raged about not maybe, but just like we're leaving now, and I made my hype man get in the car. I drove in like silence, I think, for like the next 3 hours, just like.
Wait, so this was, what year was this?
Well, I was doing collaboration. So that's like 02. I got my, or maybe it hadn't come out yet. Honestly, you know what? It might've been before collaborations came out because I remember they paired me up with Ilharmonics because Ilharmonics was on Tooth and Nail. So that was like, it's either somewhere between 01 and 02. I can't remember. It's somewhere around that era.
Right.
But it was, Earthsuit was still around. Earthsuit was still around. And I feel like that was the show where Paul met Darren or something like that. And Roy was the guitar player for Ilharmonics. And then obviously that goes on to become Mute Math or whatever.
That's interesting. Yeah.
It's wherever Earthsuit ended.
Because when collaborations came out, that album did really well. So I think it was after that I think.
But it really didn't. I mean, it took like a good year of like, somewhere like I'll never forget my career was like the first year, went terrible, got dropped by the label, got evicted from my apartment, got my car almost repossessed. The second year I was like breaking even. And then by the third year I was starting to turn like a little bit of a profit. So like I remember that very clean progression, but I feel like this is before. I remember doing Dear Slim on that tour. So I don't think I think it was still not out yet. So it must have been somewhere in there. I can go back and look. But the point being, it was like, I still was like, this is the worst. Like, I'm never going to get over this. You know what I mean? Like, I'm never going to, this is my lot in life. You know what I mean? Like, no matter how far you go, there's somebody there to knock you down. And I remember years later, I played that same spot, like years later, and the same thing happened again. Different girl, but totally I couldn't script it. That the same same conversation happened again.
About me?
Yes, I'm not joking. Like Picayune, Mississippi is burned into my skull. Like with a hot, like I don't have any tattoos on my body, but Picayune, Mississippi is the one tattoo that
So it was great. So she bought tickets to your show thinking it was my show. And then she never ended up coming to my show because she was out of money buying your stuff.
She spent
Great.
it all.
Great.
Wherever she is, I hope she's doing great. God bless you, lady. I hope your life is blessed. I have no ill will against you. It actually, like, I mean, I don't know if you had to do this, but I would take those things and put them in songs. Like, it was like,
Oh yeah,
take the power away.
No, dude. I mean, well, that's storytelling, right?
It is.
Especially when you hit that stage, you're touring all the time. You're gonna inevitably all those fun, good and bad stories are gonna show up. That's a funny story, dude. That happened to me though, multiple times.
Okay, I feel better. I feel validated. Yeah. Well, we're coming up on about an hour now, so like I think we should give some people some updates. The project is scooting along. I've written a couple verses. I feel really good about the production. How do you feel about it? How do you feel about things progressing so far?
It's great. I've just been swimming in lyrics and feeling out the different vibes of the different tracks, trying to map it out. KJ, you just did down right because I think you're more. You're like, I have this amount of time, and I'm gonna write this verse, and I'm gonna knock it out. Me, I'm sitting here, man. It's just rattling around in my head all day, thinking through. So
I love what you've said so far.
Trying to avoid overthinking it, but I have a lot written. So eventually, like you're more savvy when it comes, as you can see, your setup versus my setup. But I do now have my, look at that. One of these days, I'm gonna show up looking like you with a nice backdrop, headphones, the whole thing.
Yeah, but the funny thing was, the podcast last week, you looked great on the podcast. I look like Casper the Friendly Ghost because I have no idea what I'm doing as far as lighting goes. So, we're both
you
equally
look
losing.
Fantastic, and I'm all washed out right now. So you know what?
I think it deserves a cheer.
I think it's going good, dude.
And they said we couldn't do it. They said it was impossible. No, haters, you're the problem. You're the problem, haters. You're the problem. You're the problem. I'm still picturing the Chick-fil-A cow circling you.
We're going to need a shorter one. How are you feeling about the record? How are you feeling about the music?
I feel so good. I'm having so much fun. I was like, I like the fact that, you the things that I've always loved about your art, and this is going way back in the day, you know what I mean? Like the very first time I met you, which was, I think, 97 maybe, Showcase Some C's era, I think is what it was, is that, I always appreciate people that are their authentic self. And that, to me, I've always been drawn to. So, like, I think from the very time I ever met you, you were always your authentic self. And you had that sort of, like, this is who I am, and screw you if you don't like it. Not in a mean way, but it was just like, you're the problem, not me. I'm not the problem. You're the problem. And
John Reuben. Just say your name at the end. If you don't get it, John Reuben.
John Reuben. Like, and that's coming up almost 30 years. It's coming up. There's a certain degree of, like, you got to be B Rabbit sometimes in 8 Mile. But that being said, like, I love the stuff that you have sent. Like, I know you haven't, like, formally got your recording, but it's still that essence of, like, self-aware. I get the joke, but also you're the problem.
No, dude,
so
I think
drawn to that stuff. I always love that stuff.
It's going to turn out really fun, and it's been fun, entering, because you've worked with Marty, so you guys have a workflow, and I haven't done, like, I've always sort of sat in a room and mapped it out with a producer. This is kind of a new way of as forward thinking as I like to think I am. I'm late to the game as far as just like how I think a lot of modern hip hop records are actually made, and so this has been a bit of a learning curve, and also really fun process. And the beats are coming fast and furious, and they're all pretty good. So you're just sort of like, all right, man, how do I drill down and figure out which ones to write to? And you're sort of like, this is a process you're used to. You're like, oh man, there's you're getting hit with inspiration nonstop, and so it's pretty fun, man. It's your stuff sounding really good. It's going to be good, man.
Well, should we reveal? I mean, it's not the title, because I wouldn't even ever say it's the title. There's no telling what a title of an album can be or a project can be. But I think
we'll say that. We'll say that for the next one.
Okay, all right. We won't say the title.
We'll throw because I got to get out of here. You got to get out of here.
Me too.
We'll throw a few titles out there and just see what people think. Back on the next.
So one of these, you want to do it now? You want to say it now?
What's that? Titles?
Say the titles. The titles.
We'll save it next time.
We're gonna save it. Okay. Well, I'll just give them a hint. How about a little hint? A little hint.
No hints.
No
No
hints.
hint. No hint.
That's
What
actually
are
the
you
title
doing?
of the problem. I'm playing good cop, bad cop. I'm their friend. You're the
Nothing.
problem.
Give them nothing. Give.
All right, you're right. I respect that. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in once again. We appreciate it. We had a ton of people check out the podcast so far, so this will be just even better.
As a side note, KJ, I just want to say this. As a side note, the only reason I'm saying don't give a hint is because I can't remember what the title is that you're thinking. So I need to touch base with you so
Fair
I
enough.
can understand.
We're creating a groundswell. That's what we're doing. The goal here is groundswell. Okay, that's actually the name of the album, called Groundswell.
I don't even know. You're talking about, should we give him a hint on the title? I'm like, wait a second. I have to.
The title is No Title, Groundswell.
I got a title in my head. You got a title in your head. I think Marty's got one in his head.
Clearly, this is working great right now.
We need a Zoom meeting to bring the titles together.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to leave like we came in. We thank you. We appreciate you. Thank you for coming. You're far too kind. You're enjoyable. You're wonderful. You're incredible. I appreciate you. I think there's not enough accolades for who you are as an audience. Shout out to the Chick-fil-A cow. Shout out to ice hockey rinks. Shout out to the youth pastors that made this all happen. Big ups.
Shout out to the Chick-fil-A mascot who threw
Chick-fil-A mascots. We
out.
love you. We appreciate you. May your day be filled with Polynesian sauce. You better pray about it. All right, y'all.